Have you ever just stopped to think about what's actually running the show on your computer? We're talking about the Windows operating system. It's the engine behind billions of computers all over the world. But how does it really work? Let's dive in and find out.
I mean, really think about it. You've got this incredibly powerful box of circuits and silicon sitting on your desk. But how do you tell it what you want it to do? It's not like you can just have a conversation with it. Or can you? How do you actually bridge that huge gap between an idea in your head and an action on the screen?
Well, the answer isn't magic, even though it can definitely feel like it sometimes. It's actually a brilliantly designed piece of software that acts as the computer's brain, kind of like its central nervous system. And that software is exactly what we're here to talk about. An operating system, or OS for short, is basically a translator. It takes everything you do, all your clicks, your typing, your mouse movements, and translates it all into a language the computer's hardware can actually understand. It's the program that creates the literal window you look through to see your entire digital world. You know, to really get what Windows is today, we kind of have to see where it came from. So let's take a quick tour through time, a little highlight reel of its biggest moments.
So way back in 1985, Windows 1.0 showed up and was a total game changer. It introduced a graphical interface to everybody. A decade later, boom, Windows 95 gives us stuff we still use today, like the Start menu in the taskbar. Then in 2001, we got the legend, Windows XP, which was so stable and friendly that people used it for years and years. And if we fast forward to today, Windows 11 is completely reimagining what a modern desktop should even look like. And this quote right here, it just perfectly captures that original mission. The whole idea was to move away from typing complicated commands on a black screen. The goal was to build a new, visual world, to make computers feel intuitive and accessible for everyone. And wow, when you see them side by side like this, the evolution is it's stark. On the left, you've got Windows 1.0 from 1985. It's basic, it's blocky with these tiled windows. Then you look over at the right, there's Windows 11. It's sleek, it's got transparent designs, a centered taskbar. It's gone from just being a simple utility to a really rich, personalized digital home.
But let's just pause on this year for a sec. 1995. This was, you could argue, the most important moment in the history of Windows. The launch of Windows 95. It wasn't just a software update. It was a whole cultural phenomenon. Microsoft spent a fortune on marketing. They licensed Start Me Up by the Rolling Stones for their ads, and people were literally lining up at midnight to buy it. It defined how an entire generation was going to interact with computers.
So, okay, that's the history. But what does Windows actually do for you day to day? Well, think of it like a digital toolkit. Let's pop it open and look at the core features that help you get all your work done.
Right, so the main thing to realize is that Windows is always working for you in the background. It's managing all your files like a digital filing cabinet. It's giving millions of programs a place to run. It's connecting you to the internet, creating personal spaces if you share the computer, and it's constantly working to protect your data like a digital security guard. These are really the pillars of a modern OS.
But you know what? Just listing features can be a little dry. So instead, let's see one in action. We're going to walk through one of the most basic but essential things you do in Windows, organizing your digital life by managing your files. Okay, so first, you open up File Explorer, which, think of it as your digital filing cabinet. From there, you just create a new folder, give it a name that makes sense, like Project Reports, and then you just drag and drop your files right into it. It's so simple and visual, but it's an incredibly powerful way to keep your computer from turning into total chaos.
All right, now that we know what Windows is doing behind the scenes, let's talk about how you actually control it. We're going to break down the key parts of the user interface, the stuff you use every single day.
And honestly, to really feel like you've mastered Windows, you only need to get a handle on 3 key things. Once you understand these, you can find your way around almost anything the OS can throw at you.
First up is the desktop. This is your main canvas, your digital workbench. It's the first thing you see when you log in, and it's designed for you to put shortcuts to all the apps and files you need to get to in a hurry.
Next, there's the taskbar. That's the long strip, usually at the bottom of your screen, and it's basically your command center for multitasking. It shows you what's running at any given moment, and it lets you pin your favorite apps so they're always just a single click away. And finally, the iconic Start menu. This thing is your launch pad for pretty much everything else. If you need to find an app, tweak a setting, or search for a specific file, your journey is almost always going to begin right there.
So we've covered the past and the present, but what's coming next? Let's wrap things up by peeking through the next window and into the future.
If there's one big takeaway here, it's this. Windows has transformed completely. It started out as just a simple graphical layer you put on top of a text-based system. Now it has evolved into this incredibly complex digital home that manages basically every part of our computing lives.
And that leaves us with one final big question. We started with one window, on one screen. But today, we've got screens everywhere, in our pockets, on our walls, and our cars. So what does the operating system, that window to our digital world, even look like in the future? What's going to be the next big interface that changes everything all over again?